Welcome to another deep dive. You guys sent in some pretty wild stuff about aliens, UFOs, and government conspiracies.
Oh, yeah.
It's really something.
It's a doozy.
So get ready, because we're going deep on this one. We're talking leaked diary excerpts from a scientist who claims to have worked on top secret government projects about extraterrestrial life.
Yeah, it reads like a sci-fi thriller,
Uh,
but the implications are huge, if any of it's true.
Okay, so the document is called Project Pulsar, and this unnamed scientist says they worked with the government for over 33 years,
Wow.
studying everything from recovered alien tech to actual interactions with extraterrestrials.
Hmm.
They even say they documented over 160 different alien species.
160. Just imagine the sheer diversity of life out there.
Yeah.
If even a fraction of that is real, it would completely change how we understand biology and evolution.
It would mean we're not just a lonely planet in a vast empty universe, but
Right.
part of a much bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into some specifics. This scientist describes some pretty incredible alien abilities like telekinesis and even the ability to manipulate matter with their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Is any of that even remotely possible?
What sounds like science fiction, but what seems impossible today might be commonplace tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
The document claims that certain government agencies have even tried to replicate these abilities in humans,
Really?
using substances derived from alien technology.
So the government's trying to give people superpowers.
Potentially, yeah.
That's both exciting and a little terrifying.
Yeah.
What about the technology? Are we talking flying saucers and laser beams?
Well, the diary actually goes into quite a bit of detail about
Mhm.
two different alien propulsion systems.
Okay.
One is called an impulse propulsion engine,
Okay.
and it supposedly powers those classic gray alien UFOs.
Oh, okay.
It supposedly uses superheated plasma to distort space-time, allowing for near light speed travel.
Wow, so warp drive is real.
Well, according to this document, potentially.
That would explain how UFOs could appear and disappear so quickly.
Exactly.
What about interstellar travel? How would they cover the vast distances between stars?
That's where the second propulsion system comes in, the speed gear drive propulsion engine.
Okay.
This one allegedly powers huge motherships capable of traveling thousands of times faster than light.
Thousands of times faster than light.
Yeah. The diary talks about manipulating time-space bubbles, a concept that's pretty mind-bending.
So they've basically found a way to cheat the laws of physics.
It seems that way.
But if they have this technology, why haven't they made open contact with us?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
If they can travel across the galaxy, they could easily conquer Earth if they wanted to.
Right.
But the scientist who wrote this diary actually dismisses the whole alien invasion scenario.
So what are they doing here? Just sightseeing?
Well, the diary suggests that their increased activity in the 20th and 21st centuries might be related to our development of nuclear weapons.
Hmm.
It's almost like they're concerned about what we might do with that kind of power.
That's a chilling thought. They're more worried about us blowing ourselves up than conquering us.
It would seem that way.
But if they're so advanced, why don't they just step in and disarm us?
Well, that raises the question of whether they're willing to interfere in our development, or if they're simply observing us from a distance.
Right.
Perhaps they believe we need to find our own solutions to our problems.
So we're back to the mystery of their motives.
Exactly.
Okay. This diary also mentions some pretty disturbing stuff about genetically engineered creatures.
Uh-huh.
They even have drawings of some of them. It's like something out of a horror movie.
The diary describes several different types of bioengineered creatures, including something called a loose-Q.
Olko.
Imagine a coon being bred for absolute obedience,
Wow.
designed to serve its creators without question.
Hmm.
The diary also mentions mutative clones used for scientific experimentation.
That's pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
If even half of this is true, it raises some serious ethical questions about the potential for abuse of this kind of technology.
Absolutely. If a civilization capable of such advanced bioengineering exists, imagine the potential impact on humanity, both positive and negative.
It's a lot to consider. Okay, let's move on to another big theme in this diary, government projects.
Okay.
It specifically mentions Project MKUltra.
Right. MKUltra was a real CIA program that ran from the 1950s to the 1970s. It involved some highly unethical experiments with mind control, using things like LSD hypnosis and even electroshock therapy.
Wow.
But this diary claims that the CIA wasn't working alone.
They were working with aliens.
According to the scientists, they were collaborating with extraterrestrials to enhance their mind control techniques.
Hold on. They were trying to control people's minds with the help of aliens.
That's what the diary claims.
That's taking mind control to a whole new level.
It's certainly a disturbing thought. And what's even more unsettling is the diaries claim that these techniques were not just theoretical.
Oh, no.
They were actually being used on unsuspecting people.
So this scientist is alleging a massive government conspiracy involving mind control and alien collaboration.
That's right. And they claim that this conspiracy goes far deeper than anyone realizes. It's not just about mind control. It's about controlling information, manipulating events, and shaping the course of human history.
Wow. If this diary is to be believed, it sounds like we're living in a real-life sci-fi thriller.
It certainly does raise some intriguing questions about the nature of reality and the forces that might be at play behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But we need to remember that this is just one person's account.
That's true. We need to approach all of this with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Exactly. But even if some of these claims are exaggerated or even fabricated, the questions they raise about government secrecy, alien contact, and the potential for abuse of advanced technology are very real and very important.
Okay, this is already a lot to process, and we're just getting started. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll delve deeper into some of the specific claims in this diary and explore what evidence, if any, supports them. Stay tuned.
All right, we're back and ready to really get into this alleged diary.
Yeah.
It's a wild mix of claims about aliens, government conspiracies, mind control.
Right.
We need to approach it with a critical eye.
Of course.
Where should we even start?
Well, remember, the scientists mentioned increased UFO activity coinciding with the development of nuclear weapons.
Uh-huh.
That's a good place to start.
Okay.
We need to ask ourselves, is there any historical evidence to support that claim?
You know, that's a great point. We've all heard about Roswell, those mysterious lights over Phoenix back in the 90s.
Right.
There are so many stories about UFO sightings, especially around military bases or nuclear test sites.
Right, and in many of those cases, the official explanations were met with skepticism.
Right.
People suspected a cover-up.
It's worth looking into those incidents, examining eyewitness accounts, searching for any documented anomalies that might suggest something extraordinary was happening.
You know, this reminds me of something I was reading the other day about the WOW signal.
Oh, yeah.
A strong radio signal detected in 1977 that some believe might have come from an extraterrestrial civilization.
Right.
It's still a mystery to this day.
Exactly. There's so many unexplained phenomena out there.
Yeah.
And it's tempting to connect the dots and see a pattern. But we need to be careful not to jump to conclusions.
Okay, so let's say for the sake of argument that some of these UFO sightings are real and involve extraterrestrial technology.
Okay.
What about the specific technologies described in the diary, like those warp drive engines and mind control techniques? Is there any scientific basis for any of that?
Well, some of the concepts mentioned,
Yeah.
like manipulating space-time for faster-than-light travel, are theoretical possibilities within physics.
Okay.
But our current understanding suggests they are far beyond our current capabilities.
So you're saying that while we can't rule out the possibility of advanced alien civilizations having these technologies, we should be cautious about accepting them as fact based solely on this diary.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that our understanding of the universe is constantly evolving.
Right.
What might seem impossible today could be commonplace in the future. But we need to be grounded in evidence and scientific principles when evaluating extraordinary claims.
Okay, that makes sense. But this whole conversation is making me think, what if there are beings out there who are thousands, even millions of years ahead of us technologically?
Right.
I mean, that's a mind-blowing concept.
It really is.
Yeah.
It raises some fundamental questions about our place in the cosmos. Are we just a young species on a backwater planet still figuring things out?
Right.
While other civilizations are out there exploring the galaxy, maybe even manipulating events on a cosmic scale.
It makes you feel pretty insignificant, doesn't it? Like we're just ants crawling around on a giant anthill. And if this diary's right, some of those ants might be getting their minds messed with by unseen forces.
That's the unsettling part.
Yeah.
This idea that we might not be in control of our own destiny, that we might be pawns in some larger game we don't even understand.
Okay, now I'm getting existential anxiety. But back to the diary, it also mentions those genetically engineered servants, the SQs and the mutative clones.
Yeah.
This whole concept of alien bioengineering is both fascinating and terrifying.
It is, and
Yeah.
it taps into some primal fears about Artificial creation and the potential for things to go wrong.
Yeah.
Think about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein,
Right.
a story about the unintended consequences of playing God.
Right. We have this deep-seated fear of creating something that we can't control, something that might turn on us.
Right.
And if these aliens are capable of manipulating DNA and creating entire life forms,
Yeah.
who knows what else they might be capable of?
It's a Pandora's box of possibilities, both good and bad.
Yeah.
Imagine the medical breakthroughs we could achieve if we had access to that kind of technology. But then imagine the potential for misuse, for creating weapons or manipulating entire populations.
Yeah.
The ethical implications are staggering.
It's enough to make you want to bury your head in the sand and pretend none of this is happening.
Right.
But I think it's important to face these questions head on.
Absolutely.
If these possibilities are real, we need to start thinking about the consequences and preparing for the potential impact on humanity.
I agree. We can't just ignore these issues and hope they go away.
Yeah.
We need to engage in open and honest discussions, explore different perspectives, and try to anticipate the challenges and opportunities that might lie ahead.
So we've talked about UFO sightings, advanced technologies, and the ethical implications of bioengineering.
Right.
But what about the elephant in the room? The claim that governments are covering all of this up. Why the secrecy? What are they hiding?
Well, there are several theories about why governments might choose to keep evidence of extraterrestrial contact secret.
Okay.
One is to avoid mass panic. Imagine the chaos that could ensue if the public suddenly realized that we're not alone in the universe.
Right.
And that our planet might have been visited by beings with vastly superior technology.
I can see how that would be a concern. People might freak out, the economy could collapse, religions might be thrown into turmoil.
Exactly.
It would be a global upheaval unlike anything we've ever seen.
Right. Another theory is that governments might be trying to protect themselves.
Okay.
They might be worried that revealing the truth about alien contact could undermine their authority or make them appear weak in the face of a potential threat.
So it's a power play. They want to maintain control, even if it means keeping the public in the dark.
It's certainly a possibility. And then there's the issue of technology.
Okay.
If governments have recovered alien artifacts or reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology, they might be keeping it secret for strategic reasons.
So it's like a technological arms race, but on a cosmic scale. They're trying to gain an advantage over their rivals, even if it means keeping potentially beneficial technology from the rest of the world.
That's one way to look at it. Of course, all of this is speculation. We have no concrete evidence to support any of these theories.
Right.
But the fact that so many people believe in government cover-ups suggests a deep-seated mistrust of authority and a suspicion that we're not being told the whole truth.
Right, and this diary plays right into those suspicions. It fuels the conspiracy theories and makes people question everything they thought they knew.
That's the power of information. Even if it's unverified or potentially fabricated,
Yeah.
it can plant seeds of doubt, challenge our assumptions, and force us to reevaluate our understanding of the world.
It's a reminder that we need to be critical thinkers, to question everything, and to demand transparency from those in power.
Absolutely.
Right.
And perhaps even more importantly, it encourages us to stay curious, to keep exploring the unknown, and to never stop seeking the truth, no matter how elusive it may be.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. UFO sightings, alien technologies, bioengineering, government conspiracies.
We have.
It's enough to make your head spin. But there's still so much more to unpack in this diary.
That's right. We haven't even touched on the different alien species described in detail, their alleged motivations, and their potential impact on human history.
Well, then we better not waste any more time. Let's dive into the next layer of this cosmic onion and see what other wonders or horrors it might reveal. Okay, so we talked about UFO sightings, advanced technology, government cover-ups.
Yeah.
But this diary goes even deeper, describing a whole cast of alien characters. It's like a cosmic who's who.
It is.
Where do we even begin with this alien lineup?
Well, the scientist who wrote this claims to have documented over 160 different species.
Wow.
But let's focus on a few key players mentioned in detail. We've already touched on the gray aliens,
Right.
the ones often depicted in popular culture with their large heads and almond-shaped eyes. The diary suggests they're highly intelligent, technologically advanced, and seem particularly interested in us.
Okay, the gray aliens. But why are they so interested in humanity? Are we just a science experiment to them?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
The diary speculates that they might be studying our biology, our culture, our potential, maybe even trying to learn from our mistakes.
It's kind of humbling to think that we might be the less advanced civilization in this equation. Like, we're the ones being studied, not the other way around. What about the other alien species?
Well, there's a group called the Nordics,
Who does?
described as tall humanoid beings with fair skin and blonde hair.
Okay.
They're depicted as more benevolent than the Greys,
Oh, okay.
interested in peace exploration and sharing knowledge.
So the Nordics are like the friendly space neighbors. Maybe they'll invite us over for some intergalactic barbecues once we figure out this whole warp drive thing.
Maybe so. The diary suggests that they've been observing humanity for centuries, perhaps even guiding our development in subtle ways.
That's a comforting thought. It's nice to imagine there are some friendly faces out there in the cosmos looking out for us. What about the others? The diary mentions some pretty strange ones, like the orange aliens.
Yes, the orange aliens.
Mm-hmm.
They're described as highly spiritual beings with advanced psychic abilities focused on consciousness and interconnectedness.
Whoa, psychic aliens.
It's as if they've transcended the material realm and operate on a higher plane of existence.
That's a whole other level of weird. I wonder if they can read our minds.
Perhaps they can, or maybe they communicate in ways we can't even comprehend.
Right.
The diary suggests that they're difficult to detect and interact with, as if they exist on a different frequency.
Okay, this is getting a little too X-Files for me. What about the reptilians? That's one of those conspiracy theory staples, right?
Yes, the reptilians are a popular fixture in conspiracy theories, often depicted as shape-shifting, malevolent beings who manipulate human affairs from the shadows.
Oh, yeah.
The diary claims that they're ancient, highly intelligent beings who've been influencing human civilization for centuries, perhaps even posing as powerful figures in our society.
Wait, so you're saying there might be lizard people running the world? I mean, I'm all for open-mindedness, but that's a tough one to swallow.
It's certainly one of the more outlandish claims in the diary. But remember, we're simply exploring the information presented, not endorsing any particular viewpoint.
Right, of course.
It's up to you to decide how much credence you give to these claims.
Fair enough. Okay, so we've got this whole cast of characters. The Greys, the Nordics, the Orange Aliens, the Reptilians. It's like a cosmic soap opera. But where does humanity fit into all of this? What's our role in this grand cosmic play?
That's the big question, isn't it? Are we just bit players in a drama we don't fully understand, or do we have a more significant role to play?
Yeah.
This diary suggests that humanity might be at a crossroads, facing choices that could determine our future not just as a species, but as a part of a larger galactic community.
It's both exciting and terrifying to think that our actions could have implications beyond our planet, that we might be part of something much bigger than we ever imagined.
Exactly. And perhaps that's the ultimate message of this diary,
Yeah.
whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
It forces us to look beyond our limited perspective,
Right.
to contemplate the possibility of other intelligent life, and to consider our place in the grand scheme of things.
It's a reminder that the universe is full of mysteries and that the truth might be far stranger than we ever dared to imagine. And that's what makes it so exciting to explore.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are your final thoughts? What will you take away from all of this?
Well, I have to say, this has been a wild ride. We've covered so much ground,
We have.
from alleged government cover-ups to psychic aliens and shape-shifting reptilians.
That's a lot.
It's a lot to process, but it's definitely opened my mind to new possibilities and sparked my curiosity to learn more.
That's what we hope for with every deep dive, to inspire curiosity, critical thinking, and a sense of wonder about the universe and our place in it.
And even if we never get definitive answers to all of these questions, the journey of exploration is a reward in itself.
Exactly. So keep asking questions, keep searching for evidence, and keep your mind open to the infinite possibilities that lie beyond our current understanding.
Well said. And to our listeners, thank you for sharing these fascinating materials with us and for joining us on this deep dive into the unknown. We hope you enjoyed the ride.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep looking up at the stars.